You're listening to Coffee Break Flight Instruction by M0A.com. Flight train tips in 15 minutes or less.
Hey everyone, Jason Shepard here of M0A.com alongside a good friend and CFII extraordinaire, Mr. Larry Diamond. You're listening to Coffee Break Flight Instruction, flight train tips in 15 minutes or less. Let's start that timer. The debate is iPad mini versus, well, regular size iPad. This isn't an app battle. This isn't a processor, which iPad, well, it's kind of like which iPad to buy. I want to talk more specifically about iPad size. Listen, if you want to know which iPad I use, although you can kind of see that right here, which apps I use, how I use them, the website to go to is called digitalflying.com. Digitalflying.com, it is a free book that showcases everything I do with an iPad in the cockpit. I'm really glad to have Larry on this one. Larry, we can kind of collaborate on this. Larry is a iPad mini convert, and I converted him over to the smaller iPad, and here's why for me. I went with the iPad mini. I went with the iPad mini because of its size, and mini is really not mini. Again, I'm 6'4", have pretty big hands, and it still works pretty nice, even my hands here, okay? I also fly a Cessna 150. You said 6'4", Cessna 150. That's like an oxymoron, right? But no, that's true. A regular size iPad was very difficult for me to have sitting on my lap, have in my iPad knee board. I couldn't yoke mount a regular size iPad in the Cessna 150, and really even in the 172, there's just not enough space to really grab. After the time you actually mount it, you're almost grabbing the iPad itself because the iPad is so big. That is why I went with Mini. It is so just minimalist and much easier and takes up less cockpit space, less flight bag space. This is really changing the way we fly. And I'm all about doing that in the most compact package possible. Now, Apple also has the iPad Air, which honestly, a student of mine just got one. I'm not really impressed with it. I don't know what to say. First off, we can't find a case for it to save our lives. I mean, it did literally just come out recently. I can't find a aviation-specific case for it. There's cases, but not an aviation-specific yoke mount or anything like that out just yet. The screen size is the same. It's just a little bit thinner, which doesn't really benefit me a lot in the cockpit. And I want Larry to chime in on this too. What everyone's concern is, well, hey, maybe you're a little bit older and your eyes don't work the way they used to. Will I be able to see everything on this iPad mini? And I'll tell you, I mean, I have no problem, but maybe I'm a little bit younger, so that's different. So I was going to say I'm going to let Larry chime in on the older part, but that wouldn't be the appropriate thing to say because Larry, I mean, look how youthful Larry is. So Larry, why don't you chime in a little bit and talk about the mini? And what it's kind of done for you, especially you went from what, like an iPad 2 down to the mini, right?
Yeah,
talk about
absolutely.
that.
And actually, I took the iPad 2 on my CFII check ride, and the examiner had a iPad 2 also, and it's just like way too big. I mean, I took it down to Sporties for their flying, and so when it gets cold up here and we have our winter jackets on, of course, I have my M0A hoodie on all the time. So it was much, much better. But when you're trying to go back and you work the Garmin 430, at least what I have in my airplane, you're kind of moving around a lot. It really gets in the way. So my biggest concern on why I didn't get the mini, I just thought it was going to be way too small for my 61-year-old eyes to see. And what I found out is exactly the same, if not even clearer. I have no problems opening it up and following along. I can make it smaller. I see it just as well. I see all the colors. I'm not colorblind or anything like that. And it's just so much easier to use in the cockpit. I mean, I used it on my VFR students. I don't even have to have a knee board for that in that particular case. I'm still trying to work out a deal where I'm probably going to like Velcro it to my knee board so I can at least have something to write on. That's the only thing. I only kind of need it maybe once or twice to kind of write down frequencies and things like that because I try to be as organized as I possibly can. But I just find out the mini is just miraculous, at least for me. All the previous concepts that I had about it were totally untrue. And I think it's the only way to go, no matter what size of cockpit you have. Even if you're flying airliners, I still think the iPad is going to be too big even for them. And
Yeah.
I can pull up sectional charts, I can pull up weather, well, when I get my ads B, and put all my money together. But I just think it's so much easier to see. Every single one of my students who have iPads, they use it in the cockpit, are switching over to minis. And I just think it's a boom for aviation.
Yeah, the Mini really is the way to go, especially the new Minis with Retina display. I've never had a problem with sun glare. I've heard that complaint before, the sun hitting it a certain way, you can't see the screen. I've never had a problem with that, but I've heard the Retina display, for those that have had that problem, really fixes a lot of that and is a much more crisp display. This is not even Retina display. This is the older one, so I'm not even that fancy just yet. I'm a big fan if it works. I don't have to have the latest and greatest. This works and it certainly gets the job done. Again, I kind of want to use this segment to talk more about the Mini specifically. I mean, if you guys want to know more about like what size do I need the 4G coverage, all that sort of stuff, again, the URL is digitalflying.com to check out, and I explain all that in that free book. So just go in there, you enter your email address, and I send you the book that you can actually open up in iBooks and on your iPad with that. So that's real cool as far as that goes. Also, if you're using an iPad, I encourage you to download our iPad magazine called Good Pilot Magazine. Great way to syndicate all the same great content you're already listening to and checking out. All of our coffee break stuff ends up in there as well. You can see it comes up here real nice. So check all that out as well, guys. So anyways, guys, on behalf of myself, the incredible Uncle Larry, Double I Extraordinaire, and the entire M0A.com team, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to Coffee Break Flight Instruction, Flight Train Tips in 15 minutes or less. Enjoy the rest of your day, and most importantly, remember that a good pilot is always learning. Have a great day, guys. See ya.